Hello and welcome to Thursday, February the 26th. Thursday. I just got home. It's about 9 p.m. I should be just about getting up for work, but fuck that. I took tonight off just in case. Just in case there was a Thursday night showing of the new Scream movie. And of course there was, just like there was for the last two. So Minxie is like, oh my god, I thought you were never coming home. So she's got to get her attention in. But yes, I went to Scream 7. I was dressed for the occasion, if Minxie will let me show you real quick. Yes. You might be in the sequel. There's actually a lot of people there, dressed in different shirts and stuff. I got this from Once Upon a Tea. I don't know if it was a limited. Actually, it looks like I ordered it around Christmas. Maybe? I don't know. This is what they had left over. I did get my poster. I don't know. I can, and it's, I don't know if you can see that. I'm trying not to bend it very much, like Beckham. But her eyes are like a different. So I don't think anything glows in the dark. I don't really know. Like some of it's a little bit shinier than other pieces. I don't really know, but yes, I did the 6 p.m. Fan event. So, and it was, you know, they just, I don't know about other theaters, but ours, they basically just kind of had the posters laying there. When I got my ticket, she's like, oh, we have these posters if you want one. But when I left the theater after the movie, they were still sitting there. So I guess anybody can just go pick one up. Steve, if you're watching, just sneak into the movie theater, nab one off the counter, and run. You don't even have to go see a movie. Just say, oh, I'm thinking about it, and then grab a. Yeah, because Steve was saying that it would look good with his collection. We got a little bit extra. A couple of behind the scenes things. Little interviews. We got a fun little like Q&A session where they were pulling knives out and answering the question on the knives. We got a music video for Twisting the Knife, I believe was the name of the song. I wasn't sure about it when it first started because they open with like these like chorus of, it's kind of orchestral, all right? But then they go a little bit more rocky with it. I ended up liking it okay. I think I'm gonna have to download that. So yeah, we got a little extra that I'm assuming will not be shown. I kind of hated that it was at 6 o'clock because I'm a psychopath, I guess. I like watching my horror movies as late as possible, and then walking home in the dark alone. And I mean, I still kind of got that, but I mean, with the movie being over around 8 o'clock-ish, I guess, there's a lot of people running around out there for a Thursday evening. But I think we're supposed to get snow on Sunday, so I guess everybody's out. While the good weather's out, they're staying out. So it was, I don't know how much extra the ticket was for, of course it's over now, if you didn't book it. And I'm a little disappointed because I was there like as soon as the tickets went on sale. But then like my phone number wasn't working, but like as soon as I clicked on it, there was already 2 seats gone, like up at the top in the middle, which is where I like to sit. We'll get back to that in a minute, whoever you were. But then like my phone number wasn't working, so I like closed the app, restarted it, because I was like, I didn't think there'd already be people. Like I thought I was gonna be like the first one buying tickets for this. And then when I restarted the app, my phone number still didn't work, so it was pointless. And then 3 more seats were missing, and I was like, what the fuck? Like Jesus Christ. Out of those 5 seats that were gone, at least 2 of the people showed up, but the people with the seats right in the middle weren't there. Maybe Ghostface got him. Maybe that's what happened. I was kind of wondering with it being a fan event, like if they were going to have somebody like, because I've heard that some theaters are doing that. They're having somebody dressed up as Ghostface and like during, and of course I'm sitting in the back where there's a fucking walkway behind me, so anybody could have just been like, rah, at any point, and I wouldn't have known they were back there. I don't know if that's true or not, that some places, some theaters were actually having showings with somebody dressed up as Ghostface, like sitting in the theater with you, like, you know. There again, I'm just, it's kind of like going to, shoot. Well, the Dolly Stampede in Branson, where they, ride the horses, and you're supposed to stamp your feet and, like, clap, because it's like the North versus the South, and, like, I'm just here for the chicken, man. I'm just here for my meal and the show. I don't got to be a part of this. I'm just trying to watch my movie, so, I mean, that would be, I guess, kind of cool if, I mean, maybe I'd want to see the movie first and then do, like, an immersive experience like that, maybe. Just, because after you already know what happens, you know who the killer is, you know who, the blah, 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 like, you know everything, like, then it could be kind of fun to, like, but it's like, now I'm trying to pay attention, And the movie was good. I'm going to try to not be very spoilery to begin with. Maybe later I'll get a little bit. I'll warn you before that part comes. It was good. I think it was a solid Scream film, definitely, for sure. It was definitely nice having Neve Campbell back. I feel like they did a good job between. She had her time as the protective mother, and then she had her time as the badass. Definitely. Like, once, it maybe takes a little while for the movie to get started. But, we're setting up the characters, setting up the environment, whatever. But then, like, shit starts to go down, and, Sydney's ready, So it was definitely, they set up a lot of characters, a lot of, I mean, at certain points I was suspecting this person, that person, the other person. Like, I was never really sure, because my brain sometimes goes in all of these different directions. Whoa, Minxie is playing with a toy right by my foot. That was the scariest thing of the moment. But yeah, it's definitely a solid Scream movie. Beginning to end. I don't know how much I can say. How much. I don't want to be too spoilery. So just know the movie is good. It's definitely worth your time. Unfortunately, you missed the fan event. There might be some posters left over. Go check. Maybe they're doing more fan events. I don't know, but it was supposed to be an opening night, fan event. But I mean, all of those things are probably gonna, all those little behind the scenes things are probably gonna be released online, on their, probably on their official YouTube channel. So you're probably not gonna miss out on them or whatever. I don't know how much. So it's definitely it's a good solid Scream movie. I will say that at the basis point. Now I'm going to maybe be getting into some things that I might spoil things for you. I'm going to try to not say too much while saying as much as I can. I did kind of feel like the trailer showed us quite a bit. Like, everybody who's seen the trailer, everybody who's seen, the opening scene. You know what it is. You even know what happens with the chandelier and everything. And it's like, I feel like maybe the trailers showed us a bit too much. I don't know that there was many surprises, because it's like, you see, like, they tried to hide some of it, because, I mean, you see, you see somebody, I mean, here, spoilers, you see somebody getting wrapped up in plastic, and this person is wearing a police uniform, so you're like, but I mean, sometimes they played with, oh, you think it's going to happen here, but then it doesn't, and then the scene that you saw happens later, whatever, blah, 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 possibly, so I felt like the trailers, I think they towed that line somewhat okay, because they showed us a lot, but then, like, some of our legacy characters, like, I mean, we know Gail shows up. She shows up in the trailer, like, for 5 seconds? Just like, let's unmask this fucker. And that's about all you see of her until you go to the film and actually see, her, I feel like I'm shaking the camera a lot, so I apologize. I guess maybe my table's a little too close to the to the couch. So it's you know, and like Chad and Mindy, you know, like we know they're there, but so these are the characters we're a little bit more connected to, you know, that have been around for. I mean, you know, Gail's been there from the beginning, a bit more of a legacy character, you know. Obviously, you know, Sydney and like her family around her. Maybe some of the more outlying characters. It's like it just kind of, you know, maybe set up to be, you know, well, maybe this person's the killer. Or, yeah, I mean, it's a, you know, you gotta have some deaths in a horror movie. Otherwise, it gets a little boring, I guess. So it's like you gotta have you know your suspects and your fodder. So, you know, okay, that's fine. But they didn't really show us much what happened with our characters that we know and have, you know, possibly come to love, and you know, so they kind of kept that under wraps, and I feel like that was a good thing to do, because then it's kind of like you don't know if they're gonna survive or not, because, you know, I mean, the last couple movies have been kind of like, oh, that person should have died, and then they didn't, like, because they should have succumbed to their injuries, and then they didn't. I can't say this movie doesn't also have that problem. Maybe with the same characters, maybe. Or new characters, or, you know, emerging characters, whatever. They definitely, I can't say this film does not escape that issue. There were some times where things were very convenient, you know. Macy's just doing her thing back there. So there were some times it's like, you know, if you hadn't done this, I mean, basically they got to give the characters an out. You know, they got to give the characters a chance to survive. You know, I guess otherwise there's no drama, or not. So a few things were a little inconvenience. And then it's kind of like, you know, it's all over the place with the story, and they do dig in a little bit with the whole, you know, like Sydney being a legacy, you know, a legacy girl, and a, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it does still have some self-referential moments that we've come to know with the Scream franchise. So it's not like it's not much of a focus, but it is definitely there. So there's sprinkles of different things. I mean, I was worried I was going to get spoiled, because I think Germany already had showings of it, and people were talking about it online. I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and this guy had his little chat box down at the bottom, and I was watching it. It wasn't even nothing to do with Scream, whatever. This guy was just talking about some kind of horror movie. I don't know. And people were talking about down here in the little chat box, like, I think Scream 7 got ruined for me, and I'm like, I just had to stop looking. There's a Facebook group that I'm in, Woodsboro something. I just had to snooze them for 30 days, because I was just so worried somebody was going to come in there and be just going to ruin it for me, you know. So it's kind of like, I'm a few days away from seeing this myself. I don't want anything ruined for me. Even though the trailers did a fairly good job of doing that themselves in most cases. They showed us too much. I guess it held back the important tidbits that we needed to, you know, to save the drama for later, I guess. Whatever. Stew? Like beef stew? They didn't serve that to us. I mean, I didn't get any food. I did not get any food. I did not get any drink, because I knew I was going to have my poster, and I wasn't going to have like greasy fingers all over my fucking poster, or, you know, get it wet with my drink or something. So you've probably heard the rumors about Stu being in the film. You know, but I think people even recognized his voice in in the trailer. They're like, that's Stu's voice. That's him saying that, you know. But I mean, these days you have the voice. They've had the voice modulator since the first Scream movie. You know, they do dig a lot into the past of the previous Scream movies, and they even reference the one that Sydney's not in. You know, they her and Gail kind of have a conversation about you know, about New York and, you know, that kind of thing. So they touch on a lot of, I mean, you know, y'all know what the opening scene is. If you've seen the trailers, you know what the opening scene is with the Airbnb, Scarebnb. There are Scarebnbs. You know, like you just, so it's like it's, you know, it's the original house and yada yada yada. So you know, I mean, it's possible, right, that he's there. It's possible because I mean they even play with that idea that maybe, you know, maybe it's somebody fucking with her. This is where we have Sydney the badass, because, you know, there's a moment where they find out a tidbit of information, and Sydney's like, well, you know, that could really have happened, or somebody could have faked it to fuck with me, basically. So it's like she goes into it with, you know, I mean, it's kind of like The Walking Dead. It kind of, I think Scream maybe has that Walking Dead problem now, where it's like the people in the movie are badass and they know what they're doing, but you can't have them be badass all the time or there's no drama, you know, kind of thing. But at least, I mean, Sydney is smart. There are maybe a couple moments where certain characters aren't very smart. That might play into the whole convenience thing, maybe. And the killers is um, you know, I mean, we've had multiple killers before. I I don't want to say too much, but you know, once again, this is a problem with at least I know the last Scream movie, people kind of thought that the killers were kind of a cop out. It's possible this movie also continues that tradition in some way, shape, or form. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, however many killers there are. You know, it might be a little too simple, easy, cop out, maybe. So yeah, but all of that said, because, you know, my brain, it does go in multiple directions every time I watch a movie like this. You know, it's like, oh, maybe it's that person, maybe it's that person, maybe it's that person, you know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I know because I've seen it, but if you haven't yet and you don't want to know, I'm not gonna, you know. Hopefully I haven't said too much. I was worried that as I'm speaking I'm going to cross a line and say something that, you know, because I don't want movies spoiled for me. But there again, I guess if you don't mind spoilers, you probably haven't watched this far anyway. Hopefully you cut it off when I said I was getting into spoilery-ish territory. So, I did my best to even getting into spoilery territory, maybe hopefully not giving it all away, so that, you know, you can't completely enjoy the experience, I guess, in one way, shape, or form. So, but anyway, that all said, I definitely enjoyed it. I have to go download the music now, and I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my long weekend, because since I took this Thursday off at work, I also took next Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off. So tomorrow we're doing payday lunch, but I will be doing the weekly question that I always do at some point. You know, depending on how lazy I get, we shall see. But other than that, go see Scream 7 if if you're a fan. Maybe they'll have another fan event. I don't know. It was opening night fan event Thursday, so I don't know if they're doing anything special on Friday or I don't know. But yeah, you can still see the film even without. Like I said, the other, I mean, they still sell DVDs, Blu-rays, so all that shit that was before the movie, like I said, it'll probably be online, or special features on the DVD, Blu-ray, Laserdisc, VHS, whatever it is they put it out on. But other than that, go enjoy your weekend, and I shall see you for what I see you.